How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.
273 then in a must-win game for Afghanistan against Australia in the ICC Men's Champions Trophy. Gee, they do not fold. They do give in a fight, and it's led by Azmatullah Omarzai at the end, Sadiq Al-Atal at the start of the innings. How does this game look at half-time? We find out on Maruti Suzuki Arena Presents ESPN Cricket for Matchday. We'll hear from Dale Steyn and Ashton Agar shortly. For that, Wasim Jaffer with me, 273. It's short of the 320, I think you had said pre-show, but what do you make of that innings?
Yeah, I mean, they started really well. I think Ibrahim Zadran and Atal had a decent partnership. They found a good foundation. I think the ball was moving around at the initial stage. The fast bowlers bowled really well.
Spencer Johnson in particular.
What do you make of that innings? And it could have been 3 down, 4 down. You know, there's a lot of plays and misses. And after that, I thought, they had the foundation set for a big score, but in that middle period, I felt Shahidi and Rahmat Shah, they just couldn't rotate the strike, and it could have been, I mean, still is a pretty decent score, but could have been 300 plus, for Azmatullah Omarzai. What a fantastic knock, and what a fantastic cricketer he's turning out to be.
Yeah, we'll talk a little more about Omarzai in a bit, but it's one of those where you think at the end, 273, Ashton Agar and Afghanistan might take it. At one stage, they should have fallen short, but maybe pre-match, if you told Australia 273, they'd take it as well. Who's happier at halftime?
Yeah, I think, the stats would show that Australia should be happier with that at halftime. However, it was great to see Afghanistan fight back like that. Omarzai is a fantastic player, isn't he? What an all-rounder. I mean, to bowl the way that he does, swing the ball both ways in high 130s to 140, and to be able to come in at number 6 and play an innings like that, hit 1, 4 and 5 sixes is absolutely outstanding one-day cricket. He is clearly reads situations really nicely. So, amazing fight back, but I think Australia have the upper hand.
Dale Steyn, thoughts from you?
Yeah, I think they're probably just 20 or 30 short of what would be an average score. They probably just allowed somebody like Short to get away with a bunch of overs there in the middle overs. I think he bowled 7 overs for 20 odd runs. You would think that Afghanistan would have been way more comfortable playing the spin than they are the seamers. So probably that little zone right there where they fell short on, like I say, 20 or 30 runs, which would have gotten them to that 300, which could be competitive tonight if their seamers can start the same way that Australia did, but they need a couple more wickets. So right now, probably just below, but they're always in the game. They're always fighting, and with this game being the way it is, Australia needing to win, you never know what can happen.
Yeah. I'm so glad Sanjay Manjrekar is not with us today, because when Dale said short bowled 7 overs for 20 and therefore they're short by 30 runs, I know what Sanjay would have done. But now, even in his absence, I've already destroyed the joke. Let's talk Spencer Johnson. Dale, why don't you kick us off? Because he was making that new ball move.
Yeah, beautiful. I didn't expect that, actually. The other night when I was there was hardly any swing. It was hard length, change of pace, back into a hard length kind of bowling, and there was limited shape, especially off the deck. But Spencer Johnson got the ball to do and just talk a little bit, and obviously the weather's been around, and that pitch just being under covers for a day and a half now. It's just given it a little bit of softness, and probably that little bit of grass that is there, and there's limited grass, it just come to life a little bit in the first 10 to 15 overs. It should remain the same for Afghanistan when they bowl. So if Faruqi can get the ball in the right area, we never know. It could be a very similar thing to the way Spencer Johnson started off, but that height that he's got is the difference. He just hits the deck, and it just eats off that wicket a little bit more than, say, Afghanistan's slightly shorter picks.
Yeah, terrific response, Ashton, from what was a tough day for Spencer in the opening game against England.
Yeah, fantastic response, and I think that's how you've got to measure these players, the ability to keep coming back. International cricket's really tough, and when you're playing on good wickets, there's a chance you're going to get hit around a bit, and that probably happened in the first game. But to come back, and I guess, everyone's been talking about, can he fill the void of Mitchell Starc? Well, that first wicket that he got of Gobuz, probably the biggest wicket in that team, left-handed in-swinging Yorker crashing into off-stump, that's Mitchell Starc all over, but it was Spencer Johnson this time. So fantastic that he's been able to do that. He'll take a lot of confidence from that, and it was great to see him get some movement in the air, and I hope to see the Afghani bowlers get that too, because both of their opening bowlers can swing the ball both ways quite a long way.
And Wasim, we saw that Afghanistan were playing their shots. Maybe, if anything, Spencer was a bit unlucky not to nick a few more off.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the ball was darting around. There was seam movement more than the swing, but I thought they were lucky. There were few plays and misses. Like I said, could have been 3-4 down with not many. But Atal, you got to give it to him as well. A young guy, played really, really well. He was the guy who was taking the scoreboard forward when Prem Shah got stuck and Shahidi got stuck. So he was the guy who was getting all the boundaries. He would have been disappointed, could have been 100 plus or even more, like Ibrahim Zadran the other day. He would have been disappointed he's thrown away the start, but he looked really solid, looked really organized. That was a good knock.
Played Adam Zampa particularly well, Siddiq Atal, didn't he?
100%, yeah. He played spin really well, played the moving ball, even though he was, going after his shots, which you got to do in this format. But I thought he looked pretty organized, pretty solid, and would be disappointed not to get 100, which I thought he deserved.
Yeah, Steve Smith's captaincy again must be credited here, Ashton. Bringing in Spencer Johnson when he did, the use of Matthew Short, Dale points out, that could be crucial too. And he brought on his off spinners with no hesitation with the two lefties.
Yeah, he was really willing to use Australia's supplementary bowlers early in the innings and get as many overs out of them as he could. I think that's great reading of the game, understanding that their batters probably weren't taking them on. He could sort of make the game rush the Afghani batters a little bit towards the back end because the spinners get through their overs quickly. All of a sudden the rate slows down. Who got 22 off 50 balls? Maybe.
Yeah, the captain, Hashmatullah Shahidi. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that had a lot to do with Maxwell and Short rushing through their overs and sneaking up on the batters. So that's fantastic captaincy from Smith. He just has that natural ability to read the game, and it also leaves your prime bowlers to bowl the hard overs, the death overs, and try and finish off the innings as well as possible.
Would you call that phase, Dylan? You brought that up, that maybe if Afghanistan don't get on the right side of this result, they'll look at how Matthew Short bowled at 3 and over. Would you say there were genuine challenges in getting them away? How would you assess those middle overs and why it was such a struggle for Shahidi?
It's just one of those days where you seem to find the fielders. I was watching a lot of the TV with it on mute, and every time I kept looking up, it felt like the batters just kept finding the fielders. They'd play a good shot, bang, find the fielders. Play a defensive shot, bang, find the fielders. So it almost difficult to kind of rotate strike and then forced to kind of go into that same plan that they had against England the other day, where they almost struggled throughout the whole innings. And then the last 10 overs accelerated to get that 113 that they scored against England. It was never going to be the same tonight. Different caliber, different pitch, and different plans. So they just struggled to kind of rotate. And we didn't see a lot of like the reverse sweeps coming out, that kind of stuff, where it just alters the field a little bit. They kind of just waited for the bad ball, which at this level, it's not going to come.
Omarzai, 67 or 63, gives them a fighting chance. What was the best part of that innings for you?
I think he just played the situations really, really well. He came in, he took his time. There were wickets falling around him, and then took on the bowlers which he thought he could take on, and he's got big. It doesn't look like very strong guy, but hits a big ball. Hit it 10-15 rows back, and he picked his spots really well. And once he hits it, he commits himself to the shot. And for somebody who's taken a 5 wicket in this tournament, got 60 odd today, 40 odd the other day, proper genuine all-rounder. And the temperament and the fight that he has, we've been speaking about, he has that. Somebody so young looks very promising going forward.
Yeah, I mean, Gulbuddin might do the guns, but he seems to have the real power with those sixes at the end.
100%. He hits it a big ball. Pace and spin, that is a rare quality for a young guy. Looks very good for the Afghanistan cricket going forward.
Yeah, let's talk to the two bowlers and what they were most impressed about, because you had to navigate a tough period of play with wickets falling at the other end. It was pretty much all on Omarzai, Ashton, wasn't it, to give them fighting score? What stands out for you?
Yeah, it was. I thought he read the situation beautifully, but what really stands out about his batting to me is he doesn't start his innings by nudging and nurdling the ball around or trying to find little gaps and playing soft shots and deflecting the ball. He hits the ball hard from ball one. And I think what that does, it puts the fielders under pressure straight away. If he misses the fielder, he gets a boundary, so he's ahead of his run, to ball count. And then it also allows him to work out his boundary hitting swing later in the innings. Because if you're looking to hit the ball one step into the ball and hit the ball hard, you know exactly the type of swing you need to have to hit the ball for 6 later on in the innings. And that's exactly what he did. He's able to hit those back of length balls, back over the bowler's head, over straight cover and over deep mid-wicket. I thought it was a very impressive display of batting.
I find that very interesting that you say that. It almost puts him in the club of, when you think of when Hardik Pandya walks out, when Andre Russell walks out, that's pretty much how he sets up as well. Is it fair to say, Ashton, before I go to Dale?
I think, Hardik Pandya is the one that I thought about straight away. I think that's Hardik's method of batting, look to groove his 6 hitting swing straight away by hitting the ball as hard as he can along the ground at the start of his innings. There's no messing around, and it certainly pays off at the back end. I mean, sometimes they're going to get out doing that, but it's a really consistent method, and I think it works for him more often than not.
Dale, anything to add on Omarzai?
Yeah, I think his ability to hit that in-between length ball for 6 is really good. It's not a slog. He's not standing there and just looking to hoik it over deep mid-wicket for 6. He's actually hitting the ball like it's a good shot. He's kind of forcing the shot over long off, long on kind of area, which is a difficult zone for batters to hit. I watched Afghanistan bat against South Africa's bowlers the other night, and a lot of them just didn't know how to do it. They were either waiting for the ball to be ultra full, like in the slot, or that in-between short lengths, which is an easy shot for players at the highest level. That hard length ball is the most difficult one for them to hit. And he seemed to put it away tonight with ease. I mean, when you're hitting 5 sixes, none of those 6s that he hit is just a complete slog. It's absolutely good cricket shots. So that means that as a bowler, I got to think, he's hitting me off my best ball right here. It shows the caliber and class of the player.
All right. What do Afghanistan need to do to make a game out of this?
Well, I think get a wicket with the new ball, a couple of wickets in the power play, and then 30 overs of spin. I think that's going to be very crucial. If those guys bowl really well, I think they're going to make a match of it for sure. They are not going to go without a fight. So they'll do their best. Rashid and Noor, I feel, have got a role to play. So, we've got a game on our hands.
We did see Australia 20-odd for 2, but they think this is still a below par score. Ashton, how do you see Australia going about chasing this, what we can almost call an in-between score with what we've seen at Lahore?
I don't think Australia will set up any differently or try and chase the score any differently as they would try and chase any score, to be honest. You know what you're going to get from this batting lineup. You know that Short and Head are going hard at the start. They're going to play their shots, and if the ball's in their zone, they're going to try and hit it for 6. I mean, they've shown that over the last 2 years quite consistently. Smith and Marnus to rebuild the innings in Inglis is just so good at navigating the spinners overs in particular, and he has that 360 scoring ability. So that's where the dynamic partnership forms. I think Afghanistan, what they need to do is they need to get a couple of early wickets and then fight as hard as they can for every run possible. Maybe be inventive with their fields, bring the 4th man up into the ring and only have 3 out at times to squeeze a few dot balls to try and bring about a wicket. And I think they need to stretch the game out as long as they can and make Australia back end the run chase.
Dale?
I think a lot relies on Rashid Khan, to be honest with you. And I know we always talk about him, but in the last 2 ODIs that I watched him bowl against South Africa and I watched him bowl against England. He hasn't been extremely successful. So the thing about a great player like him is that a good game is not far away from him. And it could come this evening. And if he's able to nip out 3 or 4, because he hasn't got many this tournament, if he has a good bowl tonight, Australia could find this chase a little bit difficult. They also need Faruqi or one of the new ball bowlers to take a couple wickets through the top order. But that middle overs period there where Rashid comes in, he's got to be able to strike tonight. He needs to take, like we talk about a batter getting a big 100, Afghanistan need him to take 3 or 4, even if possible 5 tonight for Afghanistan to go all the way.
An Australia-Afghanistan game seems incomplete if Glenn Maxwell doesn't have a say. Ashton?
Yeah, it certainly seems to be that way. And I reckon everyone's hoping for a maxi special tonight. He started well with the ball, I must admit. So that's often a good sign for his cricket when he's bowling well. He really enjoys that. He takes that confidence into his batting. He likes playing against Afghanistan, and the stats certainly back that up. I mean, 201 off 128 balls is ludicrous. And I watched the highlights of that again this morning, and I couldn't really believe what I was saying. It gets better every time you watch it. But, hopefully he doesn't have to make too many and Australia can chase it comfortably.
I wonder if you recall the first conversation you had with Maxi after that insane innings?
I sent him a message and all it said was ha 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 ha. Like, it was just a bunch of ha ha's because it was, honestly, it was laughable. Like, what else are you supposed to say to that? I was lost for words, that's all I could say.
Yeah. And if I recall the scene of events before that game in Mumbai, he had fallen off the golf cart in Ahmedabad, had missed, I think, the Australia-England game, was concussed for about 10 days, and this was his game back. It just another day or another week in the life of Glenn Maxwell, Ashton?
It's a bit of a wild ride, I guess you can call that, couldn't you?
Dale, how do we see this game going? Prediction, Australia to get this easy, Afghanistan to possibly do the most extraordinary back-to-back result and make it to the semis. What's your prediction?
I think Australia will get these runs. I think Afghanistan will fight. They'll fight till the very last ball's bowled. I can tell you that much. But I think they had their World Cup game a day or two ago against England. And I think this is just not enough runs for them tonight to pull off a heist. If they do, it would be a great heist. But I think Australia got this.
Wasim.
Yeah, I agree with Dale as well. Australia's game to win, but I think Afghanistan's going to fight.
All right. Ashton, easy win?
They're never easy, and I think Afghanistan are a very skillful side, and they're going to really try and push Australia's batters with their spinners in particular. But I think Australia have the batsmen through the middle to combat that nicely. They're in good form, and I see them chasing it down.
All right. Ashton Agar, Dale Steyn, thank you very much. More from you at the end of the game. Wasim Jaffer, you as well. Semi-final spot up for grabs. Can it be the Afghanistan dream again, or will it be the champion-winning mentality of Australia that shall prevail? Winner will make their booking in the semi-finals, and we will wait to bring it all to you at the end of it on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Match Day. So join us post-match.
How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.